You are now listening to the Vegan Stuff podcast with Caavakushi.
In today's episode, our hosts, Sam and Kim, are going to be talking about the amazing Ghetto vegans. If you simply can't get enough of us, go to caavakushi.com and sign up for our vegan newsletter. And we also have some good news. We will be releasing our first ever cookbook pretty soon, so stay tuned. Hey, don't forget to follow us on our socials too.
All right. Ready to dig into some seriously delicious vegan food.
Yeah.
We've gotten so many requests to do a deep dive on how to make amazing vegan meals, like ones that don't require a culinary degree but still taste incredible, you know?
Absolutely. Flavor and simplicity, that's the name of the game.
Exactly. So today we're diving deep into the Ghetto Vegans YouTube channel. Have you seen their stuff?
Oh, yeah. They're fantastic.
They're this family who are basically like kitchen heroes whipping up these mouth-watering vegan recipes. But here's what's really cool. They don't just like tell you how to make it. They actually eat it on camera, mukbang style, and give their totally honest opinions. It's like having dinner with friends who really know their vegan food.
What I love about Ghetto Vegans is how approachable they make it all feel. They get that not everyone has a pantry full of fancy ingredients. They really show you how to create incredible dishes with everyday stuff.
So true. And speaking of incredible dishes, let's talk about their vegan mac and cheese, because honestly, who doesn't love a good mac and cheese?
Right. It's the ultimate comfort food.
Totally. And what's so cool is they have not one, but two killer recipes that we're diving into today. Okay, so the first one, are you ready for this? They actually use almond milk.
Almond milk.
Yeah.
For mac and cheese?
Yeah, and it's genius.
I would never have thought of that.
Me neither. But think about it. Almond milk has this naturally creamy, slightly sweet flavor, right?
Yeah.
And it balances perfectly with all those savory notes in vegan cheese. Plus, it helps make the sauce super luscious and smooth.
That's so smart. Vegan cheese can be tricky to work with sometimes, so that makes total sense.
Right. And they have this trick where they pop the lid on the pot while the cheese is melting.
Oh, yeah. I've seen them do that.
It's like they're creating a little sauna in there, making sure the cheese melts evenly and gets that perfect, cheesy pull.
So important, especially for vegan cheeses, which, sometimes need a little extra help to melt smoothly.
Okay, so then there's their second mac and cheese masterpiece, and this one has a healthy twist. Greens. They blend them right in.
Oh, wow. I've got to try that. I'm all about sneaking in those extra veggies.
Right. And they use nutritional yeast, which, if you're not familiar, is like the secret weapon in vegan cooking for adding that cheesy, savory flavor.
The game changer for sure. Adds a nice depth of flavor.
Totally. And I think these two different mac and cheese recipes really highlight how diverse vegan cooking can be. You can take a classic dish like mac and cheese and create so many variations. It just shows how creative you can get with vegan food.
Totally. It's not limiting at all. It's actually very freeing.
Yes. Okay, now let's talk about those mornings when you're rushing out the door. You've got like 5 minutes to make breakfast. Ghetto Vegans has got you covered. They've got these quick and easy breakfast ideas, like their breakfast burrito, for example. It's super customizable.
Oh, yeah. They encourage you to just use whatever veggies you have on hand. They're all about making it work for you.
Exactly. And if you don't have just egg, they suggest a simple tofu scramble. So easy.
Love that. Tofu scramble is such a great alternative.
Okay, but what about when you're craving something sweeter in the morning? They have this awesome fruit parfait. But get this, if you don't have granola, they say crushed cereal is a perfect substitute. Talk about thinking outside the box.
I love that. It's so resourceful. And it really shows that you don't need fancy ingredients to make something delicious.
Totally. And speaking of delicious, we can't forget about pancakes. Their chocolate chip pancake recipe is like a blank canvas for your creativity. They add blueberries, but honestly, you could swirl in whatever your heart desires.
That's the best part about pancakes.
Oh.
Endless possibilities.
Right. Speaking of endless possibilities, let's talk about everyone's favorite, fried food. Ghetto Vegans has totally nailed it with their vegan fried chicken and onion rings. They are seriously incredible.
One of their big secrets is understanding batter and oil. For their fried chicken, they do this two-step batter process. First, they use a flaxseed base. It basically acts like a vegan egg wash, which helps everything bind together.
Okay, that's pretty ingenious.
Right. And then, after the flaxseed base, They coat it in this perfectly seasoned flour. Like every little nook and cranny gets covered, so when it fries, it's super crispy.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and for frying, they are all about that grapeseed oil.
I've heard that's the best.
It's got a really high smoke point, which means you can get it nice and hot without it, smoking too much. Plus, it has a neutral flavor, so it doesn't overpower the other flavors.
It's those little details that make all the difference.
100%. They really prove you can make that amazing, crispy, restaurant-quality fried food at home with vegan ingredients.
And without sacrificing any of the flavor.
Exactly.
Speaking of flavor, remember how we talked about Tabitha Brown before?
Oh, yeah. She's amazing.
Well, Ghetto Vegans did a whole review of her vegan food line at Target.
Oh, I saw that. How was it?
They dug into her burgers, sausages, and sides and were totally blown away. They thought everything was so flavorful. But they were super impressed with the burgers, especially one that had this surprisingly beefy flavor.
I think that's a game changer because it shows that you really don't have to sacrifice anything when you go vegan. There are so many delicious and satisfying options out there now.
And that's one of the best things about someone like Tabitha Brown. She's making vegan food more mainstream and accessible.
100%.
It's not just burgers and sausages, though. They tried her pasta salads and potato salad, too.
Ooh, how were those?
They had different favorites within the family, which I thought was really cute. Like, it just shows that everyone's got their own taste, But overall, they were impressed by how many different options there were and how good the quality was.
That's great. It's really exciting to see more and more vegan options popping up everywhere, especially in regular grocery stores. It makes it so much easier for people to try.
So are you ready for this? Ghetto Vegans made vegan oxtails.
Wait, what?
Yeah, like the Jamaican classic, they use jackfruit.
No way. Jackfruit is seriously like magic in the kitchen.
I know, it's so versatile.
It really can take on the texture of meat when it's cooked right, especially those like slow-cooked dishes.
And the flavors, we're talking fresh thyme, garlic, ginger, allspice.
Oh, wow.
And a touch of Scotch bonnet pepper to give it a little heat.
That sounds incredible.
They simmer everything for hours so the jackfruit just soaks up all those amazing flavors.
It sounds like they really understand how to layer those flavors,
They really do. And get this, they add their secret weapon, mushroom seasoning.
Ooh, that's a good one. I use mushroom seasoning all the time. It adds such a nice umami richness.
And it takes the dish to a whole new level.
Wow, that's amazing. What a great example of how you can take traditional dishes and make them totally plant-based without sacrificing any of the flavor.
Exactly. And you know what I love about Ghetto Vegans? They're all about the message that going vegan doesn't mean missing out on all the deliciousness. They prove that you can still enjoy amazing food no matter what.
Totally. And they're not afraid to experiment with different cultures and cuisines, which is so important for showing just how many possibilities there are with vegan cooking.
Like, remember how we talked about them veganizing birria tacos?
Oh, yeah. Seriously. That's incredible.
It's pretty mind-blowing, but that's what makes their approach so refreshing. They're showing that vegan cooking really can be whatever you want it to be.
It's about creativity and breaking down those barriers. Vegan food really is for everyone.
And since we're talking about all things fried and delicious, we have to talk about their vegan fried chicken. This one seriously blew my mind. It's cauliflower, but you would never know it. It gets so crispy.
They're masters of that two-step batter process we were talking about. The one they use for their fried chicken.
Exactly.
It really helps the batter stick to the cauliflower and makes it so crispy when it's fried.
And speaking of frying, remember they love that grapeseed oil.
Oh, yeah. It's the best for frying because of that high smoke point. It can really handle those high temperatures. You don't want your oil smoking like crazy when you're frying. And the neutral flavor is key. That way you don't overpower all the other delicious flavors in the dish.
Right. And they've really managed to capture that savory flavor that you'd expect from fried chicken. I mean, it's crazy how convincing it is. Just goes to show you, you don't need meat to enjoy those classic, comforting flavors.
100%. And they apply that same kind of dedication to their vegan onion rings. They also use that two-step batter process to get them perfectly crispy. And the balance of sweet and savory is spot on. Crispy on the outside, and then that nice, tender, juicy onion inside.
And what's really cool? They actually offer variations for both the fried chicken and the onion rings. They show you how to deep fry them, which is obviously like the classic way to do it. But they also experiment with air frying.
I love that. Not everyone has a deep fryer at home. Air fryers are great too.
Exactly.
It shows how much they understand that people have different needs and preferences in the kitchen. And they really encourage you to make the recipes your own. It's all about accessibility.
And speaking of flavor explosions, we've got to talk about their vegan fish.
Wait, vegan fish? How?
Okay, so get this. They use artichoke hearts.
What? Artichoke hearts? That is brilliant.
That's it.
They actually can be kind of meaty in texture if you prepare them right.
Yeah.
I never would have thought of that.
They chop them up, they mix them with chickpeas, which adds a little more texture and some protein, and then they form them into these little fillets.
Wow.
And then for the breading, they use a mix of chickpea flour and cornmeal. That's how they get it so crispy. And that perfect golden brown color.
It's incredible how they can recreate that classic fried fish, but with plants.
And just like their fried chicken and onion rings, they give you options for cooking the fish. If you want to deep fry it, go for it. But they also show you how to make it in the air fryer.
I love that they do that. It makes it so much more accessible to everyone.
Totally. And honestly, one of my favorite things about Ghetto Vegans is their whole mukbang style. Like, they don't just tell you if something's good or bad. They give you their genuine reactions, which makes it so much more fun to watch.
It's so refreshing. They're not afraid to be real, even if it means saying something isn't their favorite.
Exactly. Like when they tried to veganize Chick-fil-A, and look, they weren't saying, hey, everyone should be eating fast food all the time.
Right.
But it was more about, like, how do you navigate those situations as a vegan? Sometimes you don't have a choice, you know?
Totally. Sometimes you're just craving it, or you're with friends, and it's about figuring out how to make it work.
And I thought they had some really good ideas, like ordering veggie wraps without cheese and loading up on the corn and bean salsa.
That's a good hack.
It's a good reminder that you can often veganize stuff at regular restaurants, even if they don't have a dedicated vegan menu.
Totally. Just have to get a little creative.
And of course, they had to give their honest opinions on the sauces. Polynesian sauce was a big hit.
Classic.
But the sweet and spicy sriracha, not so much.
You win some, you lose some.
Right. Okay, I have one more for you. They went to Slutty Vegan.
Oh, stop. How was it?
Okay, so for those who haven't heard of it, Slutty Vegan is this, like, super popular vegan burger joint.
I've heard it's incredible.
And Ghetto Vegans went all out. I'm talking, they ordered the sloppy toppy, they got the fussy hussy, like, they tried it all.
Oh, man, I bet it was epic.
And their reactions, priceless. They were so into it. I mean, the flavors, the textures, everything.
I love to hear that.
It was like they were experiencing pure joy through food, you know? And it just proves that vegan food can be just as exciting and indulgent and delicious as anything else.
100%. Places like Slutty Vegan are really changing the game.
Right. Okay, so we've explored so much amazing vegan food with Ghetto Vegans today, but before we wrap up, I want to hear from you. What's the one dish you miss most?
Yes. And how can you use what you've learned from Ghetto Vegans to veganize it? Get in the kitchen, get creative, and don't be afraid to experiment.
And let us know what you come up with. We'd love to hear about your vegan cooking adventures.
Thanks for listening. We hope you liked this episode. If you did, we'd really appreciate it if you could give us 5 stars on whatever platform you're listening to this podcast on. Also, we would be so appreciative if you could just share this episode or this podcast with all your friends and family who are vegans or vegan friendly. We're also really excited because we are going to be launching something really cool pretty soon on the site, so keep an eye out for that. And we will see you really soon with a new episode.